Beep, 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 beep. We're going to talk about robots today. And as it pertains, though, to the starter guide for search engine optimization put out by Google. So we're doing this series, and we're going step by step through the process of explaining the starter guide as it pertains to local businesses.
Exactly.
I'm Stephen Lau.
And I'm Tahmid Jawad.
And we're going to talk about robots, and what a robot is that it's a definition as to what pages can and cannot be crawled by Google to put into its index.
Right.
Okay, so if you don't know what index is, you don't know what crawl is, watch our first video that goes over all of this information, the kind of like basic terms that you need to know when discussing search engine optimization. So what is the robots file?
So robot file is the direction file for your website. So let's just say you're going to a new place and you don't know where to go. You look for direction, right? Maybe you look for some sort of signboard, or maybe you look for some human help to know where you should go. So robot.txt file is the exact same thing for your website, right? So when Google is landing on your website for the first time, it doesn't necessarily know where to go. It will like grab all your website,
eats
right?
up as much information as possible.
Exactly. So through robot.txt file, you can ask Google to visit certain pages on your website. Or not visit certain pages on your website if you don't want. Yeah.
That's right. So maybe you don't want to index sensitive files.
Right.
You don't want it to index a certain set of products that you might have on your e-commerce site.
Right.
You might not want it to index maybe your administration system in the back end.
Right.
So there's a number of things that you can discourage search engines from not crawling and including it in its index.
Right.
Right. And if you don't know what crawling or index is, make sure to watch our show there on the glossary of terminology used within this industry.
Right.
Now the robot TXT file, sometimes it doesn't even exist.
Yeah, it can be a virtual file which only exists to search engines, but not physically in your server. So sometimes you might go and look for the robot.txt file on your server, and you might not the file anywhere. So
that's right.
So depending on the CMS that you're using, content management system, you might have to download the robot.txt file directly from Google, and then you can upload the file on your server and modify it as you need.
Now, sometimes you can even go inline. So in your meta tags, you can put the direction for the robot directly in there as well. So so then you don't have a robot file. Right. So now we're getting a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, there are different syntax, some like canonical links and other syntax as well. So it can be technical.
That's correct. That's correct. But it's very important because the robot.txt file can be your friend, but it can also be your enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you do it wrong, you might even discourage the search engine from indexing your entire website altogether, and then all your work is, for nothing.
Yeah, it's a very sensitive file, so unless you know what you are doing, I would recommend not to touch the robot.txt file.
But as a local business owner, you need to ask the question about that robot.txt file.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because we just went through a scenario with a website where the web designer turned on the robot file for the whole website.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this website was getting redesigned by this web designer, and all of a sudden, the rankings were being lost.
Yeah.
Because basically, there was information there saying, hey, don't come to my website, Google.
Exactly. And sometimes I understand people do that if the website is under construction. You don't really want Google to come and find a broken website, but you have to make sure the moment your website is ready again, you turn your robot.txt on.
Well, you have to be careful though about that one because sometimes it takes longer than X number of days. So even when redesigning your website, you might want to create a staging site, or create a different folder or whatever it is, right? As opposed to just turning on and off the robot.txt file. Although that was common practice before, but I think. If you've been in business for a while,
people are always looking for you, right?
That's right. So you're indexed already.
Yeah.
You might have #1 rankings all over the place, #2 rankings. You don't want that to disappear.
Right.
But so my advice is that definitely, as a local business, just ask the question as to what happened to my robot.txt file. Is there one? Can I see what it is? I want to know what type of information is in it. I want to know what's being indexed and what's not being indexed.
You can actually, like if you have Google Search Console already and you are the owner of that website,
Yes.
you can go into your Google Search Console and use the option robot.txt tester. There's a tester. There's an
Yes.
option directly in Google Search Console.
So you can see.
You can see, yeah, for sure.
You can see. So I think you just need to be aware because you're not always sure who the mechanic is that's working on your website. And this is one of the, although a simple know-nothing file like the robot TXT, but it can have detrimental effects to your
on
website,
your website,
for sure.
Absolutely.
So if you have any questions on robot TXT file, excluding the crawler from indexing certain parts of your website, or whether you can't even just get into Google right away anyways, make sure to just drop us a line. I mean, if we can answer the question, 100% we'll try for sure. So the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be help Google and users understand your content, right? And so that's the next series there in the overall guide or starter guide that Google puts out for search engine optimization. I'm Stephen Lau, signing off.
And I'm Tahmid Jawad, signing off.
If you like this video, please share,
Like,
and subscribe to our channel.